The Aco-blight, acolyte, is the next Star Wars project by Disney, which was a tough watch for a multitude of reasons. It's more rancid than projectile vomit, for it becomes a stain upon the name Star Wars. The acting in the show was really bad, which if you've seen any of the actors' previous projects, only really Daphne's, Carrie-Anne Moss's and Li Jiangzhe's, you would have expected a far more polished project with carefully chosen dialogue that is used to aid in the storytelling. Instead, each scene is bloated with dialogue that sounds as if it was written by AI. All the human rhythm that is usually expected is replaced with dull information dumps. Li Jiangzhe does the best for the dialogue given to him, but he is wasted from the very start. They must have not learned anything from the success of The Mandalorian Season 2 and Season 1, or they would have learned one of the greatest lessons: show, don't tell. Mad Max Furiosa is one perfect example from recent times when it's done well. Furiosa is given around 30 lines of dialogue, and yet they develop her character more in that than they do with Osha. Instead of showing Osha's village burn, we're told about it. Instead of showing us she was an ex-Jedi, they told us. Instead of showing us that her sister appears to die, we are told. Anything that could have been built upon and shown to us, well, just doesn't exist. It's a Zack Snyder wet dream, just minus the blurry camera and slow motion. The droid Osha had just felt out of place. This was clearly inserted because Disney's cash cow proved small things can be popular. It just doesn't serve much of a purpose being a droid, when it could very much just be a playing tool and achieve everything that the droid version could. Osha's twin sister's obsession with having the Jedi fight her is very odd and unnecessary. It would have been more interesting if she had to figure out how to break the Jedi's meditation in order to kill him, rather than him wake up and willingly take the poison. And for Carrie-Anne Moss's character, well, if she just didn't die because she forgot she had another hand that could have helped stop the dagger. Also, did you forget I was talking about Star Wars? Trust me, it is Star Wars. No, it really is Star Wars. Yeah, look, it is Star Wars. Really, it is. It is extremely overkill to have this many transitions. George chose to use it at specific moments and not every time a new scene started. I also do not like this cliche of when characters begin speaking to only then ask for permission to speak. It comes off as unnecessary unless they have been hushed or it's done before speaking. Also, I don't think Padawans should speak as if they were military cadets. They are children that are learning to become Jedi. Therefore, they should be encouraged to speak in order to seek and discover new lessons. The comedy was unfunny and made the show more difficult to buy into, especially when they jokingly added the fire in space. Oh wait, that's not meant to be a joke, right? Oh, my apologies. I love to see that Star Wars has stopped trying to make new aliens and instead just reuse the same old ones and not even bothering to include the much more visually interesting and diverse set from the original trilogy. There's more variety in aliens in this bar than there is in the first two episodes. A few plot issues I have but I won't linger upon, for Disney's already lingered far too long, like a bad smell, is that ex-Jedi Osha should have been escorted by the Jedi, for she has the potential to use her powers upon her imprisonment and was clearly believed to be a threat. Also, there just wasn't as many Jedi as there should have been if she is a Jedi killer, especially high-ranking Jedi. Osha also being identified as the killer is crazy, for there was not enough information to have narrowed it down to her. Li Jiangzhe's character should have shared the information about her twin sister instead of concealing it for too long. The idea that the acolyte does not use a weapon is fairly dumb, and really serves no purpose. Also, Osha should have been able to act more naturally when pretending to be her sister. These were just a few ones that I picked out, but I could list far more. Chris Gore's warning of how law-breaking Episode 3 is going to be should have made me dread it.
You'll see Episode 3 will break the franchise in the same way that The Last Jedi did. Mark my words.
But I don't. I couldn't really care. At this point, morbid curiosity is what's keeping me watching, and I've detached anything Disney from the brand altogether, making it feel more of a bad parody than actually Star Wars. The tomato meter critics, or review bombers, once again showed that they were happy with eroding the trust between the audience and themselves, the critic. Any goodwill they have has faded, with their reviews being rated so highly, even when they clearly come off as negative and critical of the show. This show will soon have to contend with House of the Dragon Season 2, and we all know which one is going to outperform the other. And even with Disney's curated numbers, it will have a hard time convincing us that the show is the greatest thing to come out this year, which, let me reiterate, should have been the outcome when you pump close to 200 million into a show. Finally, it's just disappointing that criticism is being deflected from the show, with people making ridiculous reaches trying to drag the original trilogy down in order to pull the Disney sludge up, whilst also having Amanda come out and make what comes off as a bit of a racist comment.
When people watch The Hate You Give, what do you want them to walk away with? Because I know everyone has a slightly different feeling.
Well, I mean, white people crying actually was the goal.
Racism is defined as prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular racial or ethnic group. This is important that we call them out on this, as it's important to be consistent in the application of the logic being applied, or it creates a double standard. It's disappointing that these actors and producers continue to mock and attack their audience, especially when they know who they are. This has become so tiring, as it's not a one and done case. It's continually done in order to deflect from any valid criticism of many shows and many movies. At what point did you check out Star Wars? Thanks for watching, consider subscribing and liking the video.